When everybody thinks of retirement, they think of all this illusion of grandeur when they retire. And for a lot of Americans, a lot of people, that is not the case. Retirement is very stressful in a lot of ways. And I'm going to tell you what the stressors are for me, and that what I'm sure a lot of people experience as they go into retirement, either because they chose to or maybe were forced into retirement. Of course, finances is one of the number one items that most people will be concerned about during or going into retirement. Will they have enough money to live on? And it could be because you were not able to save enough over the period of time, because retirement process is a long time. It's one of the longest processes or stages in your life that you're ever going to go prepare for. You're not going to prepare as long for a wedding, for having a child, buying a house, turning 21. You just don't prepare as long. This is like a 30, 40-year process for a lot of people preparing for retirement financially. And it doesn't always work out the way we plan. So when you're interested in having that paycheck every second and fourth week of the month, and it's not going to come anymore, you may not have saved enough in a 401k or IRAs or just in savings account. You may not have a home that's appreciated as much because you just don't live in that kind of part of the country where housing has gone up exponentially. So you may be stuck with a financial situation that you were not ready for, and now you have to work within the constraints of your finances. And that can be very stressful for people who are not used to being without, are not used to having to do things for themselves, such as their own lawn, maybe doing some demolition or repair work around their house, or even installing a light fixture. There are many people who don't know how to do these things and don't have any experience using power tools or having any kind of physical demands on them over the years. So they've had a nice desk job, and they were, wearing a suit or tie, and they had a good, nice income. But now they're into a realm of their lives that they're just totally unfamiliar with. And if you're used to having, again, even like a housekeeper or someone comes in and cleans every couple of weeks, now you're going to find out you have to clean the toilet bowls because maybe you can't afford to have a housekeeper anymore. Now, along with finances, a lot of people say, well, you should just move to a cheaper area of the country, sell your home, move where it's less expensive. A lot of the places, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be honest, these places that people are talking about moving to, they're really small cities that don't have a lot of opportunities for young people to want to move into these areas. And I find a lot of them have some difficulty with crime. And so you just really need to do your homework before you start uprooting yourself. And obviously, if you need to uproot and then go into an apartment and try out that area first. And that's another stressor, is not knowing where you may end up. It's the unknown. Why would I want to leave someplace I feel secure? I have family, I have friends, I know the area, I know my way around. I don't have to navigate in a new neighborhood or worry about where do I go to the doctor, where's the hospital. You know where everything is. You feel comfortable, and now you have to totally learn to navigate this new community, get new friends possibly, maybe even find another part-time job or a full-time job if that's what's required of you. And it may not be so easy, and it's very stressful because you cannot just go out there and find friends. You cannot just go out there and find a new job when you're 62 or 65. At least one that you think you are qualified for and should be getting the salary for. These companies don't care. They don't care. They will hire you in to train that new person who's going to actually take over your job. And that's what happened with my husband. He turned 62, he lost his job. My friend, he just lost his job. He was 62. He also thinks that he is entitled to have a job that paid just as well as his last job, and that's not happening. He's been out of work basically for 2.5 years, other than 2 months of a consulting gig that he had. So this is all things that you need to come to understand, and it can be very stressful when the reality hits you. As I said before, there's going to be a lot of things you may not have the resources or money to do anymore. So when you do move, like I did, to a smaller city, you'll find that maybe your expenses for entertainment may not be as high because there is not as much to do. And you're not getting as many of the big name entertainment venues that you would maybe in a bigger city. So the cost of the tickets are not going to be as expensive. And you're also going to know that maybe things that have to be done around your home may be a little cheaper here, but you still may not be able to afford it. I started with a lawn person and that was it. After, 1 year of doing it, I said, this is ridiculous. I'm paying $200 a month. I'd rather take that money, buy a lawnmower and a couple of the tools. And as long as I'm physically able to do it, I want to continue to do this instead of taking that $200 a month towards that. It's not a necessity. It was just something that has to be done. So I decided to take it on myself. Again, housekeeping, not eating out as much, learning how to cook more, being more judicious when you go to the food store, knowing the prices of foods and goods. Maybe you want to start thrifting instead of going to the full price stores that you used to going to, or shopping on eBay. You'd be surprised how many people are selling high name, high end stuff on eBay that you can find or give away to thrift stores at a fraction of the cost. And while people complain that the thrift stores are raising their prices, they are still cheaper than going full blown to the full retail store. My daughter just got a beautiful dresser and 2 end tables from a local thrift store. It wasn't a Goodwill, which people have been complaining about. It was a local thrift store, Thomasville, beautiful set. $200. You couldn't buy that in the store. They'd want $500, $600, $700 just for one of the end tables. I know they would, because I know what Thomasville and these higher and these better brands of furnishings cost. This is an all wood piece of furniture. Again, it's not press board like IKEA. So you just have to decide where you're willing to go with your resources and how you want to distribute them now. Remember, when you were working, you didn't have the time to do these things, but now you do have the time to do a lot of these things. It's time to learn how to do home repairs, gardening, lawn care, installing a light fixture, cleaning your own house, and preparing your own meals. When you leave your job, you also are leaving that guaranteed 8-hour day to 10-hour day place to be. And now you have to figure out what to do with that time every day. And if you don't have a lot of outside interests outside of your job, you could be at a real loss. So maybe you need to start to cultivate some interests, any interest. It doesn't matter if it's doing puzzles, Sudoku, taking walks around the neighborhood, filming nature, whatever it is, taking pictures. Do something to fill the void, the time. You're also going to find that because you don't have that job to go to, you don't have that group of people around you that keep you kind of centered, and you can just know that there's someone always there next to you in the next office, next cubicle, downstairs, upstairs. So you don't have that feeling of camaraderie anymore. You have to go out and maybe make friends that are in the same position as you are. A lot of people that you may have worked with are not ready for retirement. They may not be retiring for 10 or 15 years. So those people have a long way to go. They're probably in a totally different frame of reference than you are at this stage of retiring. And you need to now acclimate yourself to a new set of friends and a new way to fill the void of time. If you leave too much time on your hand, it gives you too much time to think. That being said, if you have too much time to think, it could lead to a lot of feelings of depression, loneliness, and just totally, you feel out of sorts. So you need to make sure that you do try to get some interests and try to find some outlets, because I found it stressful to not have a lot of friends when I was younger. But as I got older, I found that 1 or 2 good friends was worth more to me than a whole office full of people that I didn't know, that were just acquaintances that I could never depend upon. So that's another thing that you'll learn as you're getting older. A lot of people are not as receptive to being helpful if you really have a crisis. And if you just can find those couple of friends that are in the same position as you, it's really helpful because they understand what you're going through. And I do have neighbors that are older like myself, and we talk and we all exchange phone numbers, and we do know that if there's something going on, we can maybe get in touch with each other in an emergency. And even my neighbor, who happens to be 20 years younger than me, she, would be, leaving her garage door open overnight, or she'd have packages on her front step. And finally I said, why don't we exchange phone numbers so that you can tell me if you need me to grab a package for you. I can tell you if I need you to grab a package for me off of my front desk, or if you see something suspicious, you can text me. So we kind of are all watching out for each other, which is a good thing. So that reduces the stress level a little bit. But again, that loneliness or absentee of where to go, what to do with your day, can leave you in thoughts that can lead to loneliness and depression. So that's another one of the stressful things of going into retirement. What do I do with my time, and who is going to be my companions or my friends outside the workplace now? Now, as you get older, of course, you don't stay as healthy, and that's just a fact of life. The older you get, the more likely you may end up with issues with your health or mobility. And that becomes a real stressor for a lot of people. And some people take it over the top. They'll start taking exercise classes, which they're not really, equipped to handle. My friend down the street, she goes to the gym every morning. I don't know what she does at the gym, but she decided she wanted to ride a bicycle, and she just didn't even get out of her driveway, and she fell and really hurt her knee. And so your mobility, your balance, your visual acuity, your peripheral vision, night vision when you're driving, all that is going to start to maybe take a little bit of a decline. I'm not saying that you're becoming an old, feeble person, but it's depressing because you know that things are going to change for you in that realm, and you may not be as mobile or as active as you used to be. If you have grandchildren, you may not be able to keep up with them, because now people are getting older and older when they have children. That makes you older and older as a grandparent. So, my parents were young when I had my children. I had my children young. So we did not really go through that with them. I was 24. My mom was 46 when she was a grandmother. She wasn't like me. My daughter waited, and I have 5 and a 7-year-old, and I'm 66. So that's the difference too. And I realize my mobility and my balance is not as great as it used to be. Plus, you'll find that for some reason, osteoporosis, osteopenia seems to become more of an issue as you get older. Some reason you don't seem to develop it as easily in your youth. I don't know why. I've had bone density tests in my 40s, and no one told me I had osteopenia, but now they're saying I have it. So I've started to take care of myself better by eating more calcium and vitamin D. So you do need to not get depressed over any kind of decline in your overall health or what you're used to doing, but you need to acknowledge your limitations. And that can be stressful for a lot of people. They don't want to acknowledge it. They want to pretend like maybe things aren't going on. And I'm not even talking about Alzheimer's or dementia or people forgetting things. I'm talking about the everyday actions that you do, such as standing, sitting, walking. You could trip, night driving, visual acuity again. All these things play a factor in creating stress for you as you go into retirement, because of the fact that when you're retiring, you are generally older. You're not going to be 45, 50, 55, even 60. You're probably going to be pushing closer to 65 for a lot of people who are going into retirement. So overall, the stressors are basically, number one, financial. And then the other things are, just loss, which is very stressful for people. The loss of a job, loss of coworkers, loss of your home, loss of your health, loss of your mobility, loss of, just everything seems to come at once for a stage that's supposed to be the most, illuminating, exciting portion of your life. And you find, I really can't travel. I really can't do these things because I don't have the finances. I don't have anybody to talk to. I'm lonely. So just remember that I've gone through a lot of these. I've been retired for 4 years now, and my husband is 11 years older than me. And we've been dealing with retirement issues for over 15 years. So, again, the age difference also made a difference in how our retirement was viewed, because that money was starting to come out a lot sooner than I ever would have anticipated, and that was a flaw on my part. So I did go back to work when I was 53 for 8 years, and then, that was it. We decided to downsize and move with the little money that we got from the house and some of the money we had in savings, and that was it. But we did have to make a plan, and probably the best thing is to just acknowledge what you're feeling. Don't deny your emotions. If you're upset or unhappy or you're scared, it's totally okay. Things can and will get better. It's another stage in your life that you just have to learn to navigate. So if you like this video, please give it a like, a share, a thumbs up, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time on Big City Girl, Small City Living. Bye.